Summer is peaking with more thunderstorms in the forecast. And also look at the weekend where we're going to dry out in Maine, okay? So finally some good news. We'll get a dry weekend for the most part. There'll be some showers in the mountains, but that's pretty typical this time of the year. Right now across the country, you have flood watches that are up for the mid-Atlantic. Severe weather. They had tornado warnings down around Philadelphia yesterday and South Jersey. A lot of heat out in the west, okay? And actually some record highs out in the west, which you rarely see, but it has to get pretty hot. Temps approaching 120 in the desert southwest. And that's going to be for today, tomorrow. So a run for the records there. But back east, you have a front here. See the front that's come through? I'll show you the plains and also the Great Lakes. You see here back towards West Virginia and up towards Pennsylvania and the mid-Atlantic, the Northeast here. This front has been the focus mechanism and the trigger with some low pressure systems coming through for the release of all of that energy from all of the heat combining with the front and the release of the showers and thunderstorms, right? It's been the trigger mechanism to fire off those showers, thunderstorms. So in the next couple of days, there will be more showers and thunderstorms from these cold fronts marching from west to east, right? But these are not what you'd expect in a fall time pattern here. So what I'm getting at is that the sky is not going to clear out and go crystal blue for a day or so, right? What's going to happen is you're going to have still a lot of moisture left over. There will be some pop-up showers and thunderstorms, and the humidity also is going to be sticking around too in the Northeast for the most part. So I'll take you into your day Wednesday. Notice here, there are some showers popping up in western Maine and the western Maine mountains. Heavier rain down, we'll call it South Jersey, Piscataway, all the way down to Virginia and D.C., okay, from central Jersey down south into West Virginia. That's from the leftover front. And then put the map into motion for Thursday and watch here. The heavier rain pushes up into Massachusetts and Boston, and also in the Oxford Hills of Maine, the western mountains, northern part of New York, up towards the lake there, up in New Hampshire and Vermont. Okay, so another front comes through, right? So that front's going to spark more showers and thunderstorms. Now, in New Hampshire and Vermont, these are going to be severe. In Maine, right now, it's more garden variety, although you can still have 40-mile-per-hour wind gusts, so watch out there. Now, for the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, notice here how clear it is. So if you want to make plans for recreation, look at Sunday. We've got some ridging going on in the atmosphere, up around 20,000 feet, 30,000 feet up where the planes fly. So with the ridging and also at the ground level, we're going to have dry conditions for the most part this weekend. I can't rule out a few pop-up showers, but really it is going to be a fantastic weekend for recreation. So make sure you are getting out and enjoying it. We haven't had a lot of completely dry weekends here in Maine especially. Here comes the next front. This is going to be Monday into Tuesday of next week, July 15th. That's the next front to come through, and I do expect it to be pretty hot before that front does come through. So I want to talk about the dew point, okay, the measure of moisture in the atmosphere. Forget relative humidity for a minute here. Let's just talk about the ground level moisture in the atmosphere. So what dew point is, it measures that moisture. Anytime you get mid-60s and higher, and especially the 70s, is pretty tropical. And really the theme here the next 7-10 days or so, you'll notice here, and especially next week early before that front gets in, you have dew point 60s and 70s, right? So the air is going to feel heavy, even though it's not. It's going to feel heavy because your body is trying to sweat to cool down, and it really can't because I have all the moisture, right, preventing that or making it more difficult. So if you're looking for the dew point to go down to get more comfortable, especially along the coastline, it doesn't happen very often in the summertime, and typically the dew point stays pretty high. So there will be some brief breaks here. You see from that front coming through. This is July 20th, right? But that front doesn't make it to the coastline. The dry air doesn't make it to the coastline. The fronts wash out because the weather highway this time of the year, the jet stream going north, on the weather highway, there's not a lot of movement, okay? You can't get anything really from the North Pole to come down here, so we don't get humidity to drop very often this time of the year. Occasionally you get a front to come through here, but it typically will lose steam. This is all the way July 19th, so a lot of time between now and then to fine-tune that forecast, but that's the next front. And right now, the dry air is back in the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, not making it towards the East Coast, right? So that's a look at things there. Let me zoom in now, my loyal followers in Maine, and focus on that. Also want to give a shout out to Ann Burns. Happy birthday, Ann. If we get to the local forecast, very special birthday wish to you. Here is the local forecast. On Nappy's notes, we are drying out today for the most part. Can't rule out a couple pop-ups. Thunder returns Thursday, Friday. It'll be scattered. Not everyone's going to see it. And especially will be in New Hampshire, okay? If you're watching from New Hampshire, Vermont, they're going to get it a lot worse than Maine. And the weekend looks good. Things are going to clear out for the weekend. And right now, there is no threat for any severe weather or really any heavy rain this weekend. So that's going to happen Thursday, Friday. Temperatures, mountains, 60s and 70s, cooling off. Then we heat up for the weekend. And then I've kept the humidity relatively low until late next week for the mountains. But inland, humidity is going to go back up pretty high Saturday on. And also as we get into peak summer. Right now, the typical high is 80 degrees. And it's the hottest time of the year. Okay, yes, the days are getting shorter. Day length starts to shorten about a minute and 20 seconds or so, a minute 40 seconds. July is typically the time where we lose the most amount of daylight, right? I hate to bring that up, but the point I'm making is that even though we're losing the daylight, we're going to have the temperature is the warmest because of seasonal lag. So that's why I bring it up. It's not to be negative or pessimistic. We lose daylight, but because of the seasonal lag, right? So things like the oceans take longer time to cool than the ground. And right now the oceans are about as warm as they're going to get. It'll get a little bit warmer and then they'll cool down. But because oceans take longer to cool down, speaking of the coastline, this is about, on average, the warmest time we're going to have for temperature, but also for the oceans, late July, August, right? That's also why the tropics heat up this time of the year, right? Because you have more of that heat coming off the equator and also down in the oceans. Anyway, I digress. On the side note there, at the coastline, humidity ramps up Saturday into next week, will be mid-60s or higher. That's what that little muggy meter means. 65 or higher for a dew point. So we're in it. This is summer, right? It's brief in Maine, but enjoy it while it lasts, if you like that sort of thing. If not, a couple more months, and we are going to be in fall. But look at how nice the sky is in Bangor right now. Clear blue sky up in the county in Aroostook at the airport, but there are more clouds to the south today. The clouds will be hanging around to the south for sure.